right, you guys, welcome to another one of my Terra Talks. So this morning I was having breakfast and talking to a really good friend of mine, and her and I were talking just about relationships, which is something, you know, that I have talked a little bit about recently. And I feel like today there was some really meat and potato things said. So if you're a horse person and you have been married forever and you don't, this is just not your video. Just keep scrolling. It's fine. It's fine. There will be more horse content on here this evening. Trust me, you can watch that content. But this content is genuinely just about relationships, because it's something that has been just a pretty serious topic in my life lately. And I know a lot of you guys that watch me are single, and I'm going to tell you that one thing. Hold on. Hello, this is Tara. Hello. This is Tara. Okay. No, there's tons of papers in there. That's not true. Anyway, I'm out of town, and I'll be back probably 5:30 today. And I'll text you Jackie's number. She just needs the registration name. Well, I mean, there's probably 4 or 5 set of Appaloosa papers in there. So what you'll have to do is just tell her that it's a registered Appaloosa and give her the description and the age, and that way she can thumb through them, and if she finds a set that matches them, she can just send you a picture of them, and you can, I mean, I don't have any registered Appaloosas on my place right now, but I don't want her to send you a set of papers that don't match, so, yeah. Yeah. No problem. So if you'll do me a favor, just text me in a minute and I'll shoot you back Jackie's number, but I'm at a stoplight and I'm actually fixing to pull like off the stoplight path onto the highway, so I need to get off of here. But anyway, text me and I'll send you back Jackie's number. Just tell her that you don't know the registered name, but it's a 5-year-old Appaloosa mare. Basically her color. She can thumb through the papers and send you photographs. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. Sorry, we had a horse that we sold, and then the papers came like after the fact, and she's like, I just want to get them, but we don't know the registered name. So anyway, long story short, need to try to figure out which set of papers belongs to that mare. But, I am trying to get through all these damn stoplights and get myself on the main road. But all right, you guys, so a couple of things that I want to make sure that y'all know is, one, when you start to date somebody, people can pretend to be somebody they're not. And it's this way in life. It can, and what's really sucky is her and I had a conversation today about narcissist. And I really don't use that verbiage very often, because I can tell you that there are moments in life that I can tell you Jacob was a narcissist. But the truth is, they're just very human. He's very human. Only about 1 to 6% of the population, I think it's like 1.6% of the population are truly a narcissist. And I think one of the biggest disservices that we have is that people will label people a narcissist the first time that they exhibit a behavior that they don't agree with. Well, you're a narcissist, baby. No. So, I recently, in my life, was around somebody that was truthfully a narcissist. Truthfully. And the scariest thing about a narcissist is that they can pretend to be somebody they're not for a little while, till you start to see these little like gaslighting tendencies. And the truth about narcissistic people is it can happen in friendships. Those people do not, it is friendship, it can be anything. And I can tell you, I think the biggest disservice is we need to stop labeling people that are not narcissists, because trust me, when you really meet one, let me tell y'all, there's a fly in my car. Let me let him out. Get out. Get out of my car. Go back to the wilderness where you belong. Okay, so But have y'all ever noticed that like, as soon as people break up, oh, he was such a narcissist. Baby, if he was a narcissist, you wouldn't have broke up with him that fast. Anyway, but I will tell you that the best thing you can do in friendships and relationships are make a list of things that you feel like you not only deserve, but you want to demand out of a relationship. So for me, for instance, I am a very loyal person, far beyond my responsibility, but one of my toxic traits is when I learn who you really are, I believe you. And sometimes it's a bad thing, because there have been moments in life that somebody showed me, and this is a little bit of the Virgo, Pisces, Taurus. I am a Virgo, Pisces, Taurus. And I'm going to tell you another thing about astrology. I think that we all have very natural tendencies as certain signs, and we are not allowed to abuse people based on our signs. You cannot go, well, I'm a Virgo, so you just have to put up with that. I am a Virgo, so this is something that comes very naturally to me, and I, as an adult, have to work religiously to not allow those very natural tendencies to hinder me in life. I look at it like some horses are naturally front-endy and some horses are naturally very much so on their hind quarter. And what I try to tell people is being a certain astrological sign means that you might be a little bit more naturally front-endy. Okay? You might be a little more bossy, you might be a little more dominant, whatever. But it's just like training and tuning up and working on a horse. You exercise every day to combat that, so that horse will use themselves on their hind end and be fundamentally correct. So what I'm telling you is, I also see a lot of people who want to know if two signs are compatible. It doesn't work that way, baby. It doesn't work that way. It has nothing to do with your signs. Like if you're a Capricorn, we know that you're naturally going to be a little bit selfish, and at the first sign of anything, you're going to throw your head up and run for the fence. Like we know that, like you're a Capricorn. But at the end of the day, that doesn't mean that that's who you are. That means that that is something that you diligently have to know, that is a toxic trait about yourself, and you need to work every day to be better. Like Jacob is a Cancer. There are days that I'm like, you're being a Cancer. And he just knows, you need to work on that. So what I'm trying to say is, I really wish people would stop when they start to date somebody wanting to know about their signs. Like, it's so great because it gives you an idea of what their natural tendencies are, but what it shouldn't do is determine how you feel about that person. Like, I've heard people say, I won't date a Cancer. Well, I have lived with one for 10 years. And I'm going to tell you that there are things about a Cancer that I am like, okay, this is a lot for me because I am a Virgo. So he has to actively work on these certain things all the time. And I have to actively work on certain things all the time. And I think that that is a misconception that I find with people, is they think that giving somebody your astrological sign gives you a pass for bad behavior. You should be studying your astrological chart, not somebody else's, because you cannot change somebody else. You need to sit your ass down with your moon, your sun, your rising, and figure out what those things mean, because you will know, okay, I am a Virgo, so I am a natural born leader. I'm going to try to lead. But I'm also very bossy, and I have to remember and be diligent to not be overbearing and too assertive, because I can come across a lot. So it is my responsibility to sit down with my signs, with my natal chart, with the things about myself to be a better human. And so that I don't go, well, I'm a Virgo. Like Jacob, sometimes I'm like, Jacob, you knew I was a Virgo when you met me. So we know that these things about me are going to be a challenge. Every day. Every day. Now, what I do know is I naturally go crazy when things are not organized the way that I think they should be organized. I have to work all the time on reminding myself it's okay for it to be like this, as long as at the end of the day it's cleaned up. It is okay for it to look like this, as long as we make an effort this week to make sure that the things that are strung out everywhere are put back up and cleaned. Because one thing I've learned with tack and equipment and everything else is that when it starts getting strode out everywhere, it's not being put up and being hung back properly, it's also not being oiled or cared for. So here's the deal. Once a week, I want everything back where it goes, even though we're going to move it. It's really hard every day with as much work as we have that every single day we put everything away. It kills me, but you know what? I'm not a boarding facility. I don't have to answer to the public. So my place can look a little disarray sometimes, and like it's a little in disarray, and we just leave it. Now, but once a week, I want everything put back so we can do inventory of things we need to order, grooming supplies, shampoo, things like that. And I have no idea what needs to order when I walk in, and it's here. So once a week, we just put everything back where it goes. We oil all the bridles as we hang them up and let them hang overnight properly so the reins fall correctly, etc., etc. All the cavesons, everything, so we can, what have we broke this week? What have we fucked up this week? That's, what have we fucked up? What have we used all of? You know, what do we need? And that is something that helps me. And that is a day that I take total joy in. Like, as a Virgo, I love it. I am like making a list, checking it twice, just being super over the top. The other 6 days a week, I have to make my Virgo ass sit down and remember that those people are working very, very hard every day for me. And that if I have them take 1 hour a day to put everything back up that they've already got out, that is going to be 6 hours this week that they've dedicated to doing that, where we could do it one time a week, and that's what I did. We do it one time a week. It takes an hour if everybody does it, or we can do it every day and the next day get it all back out. And that's 6 hours a week that we've taken away from the horses. And I have had to sit down and remind myself of that. Now, where I'm going with this, and I want for you guys to understand why this is an important part of what I'm talking about, is because so many people use their astrological signs as a pass to get out of decent behavior. I know that sounds crazy, but it's like, well, I'm a Virgo, so I'm just putting that out there. Now, the next thing I want for you to know is I will tell you that there are things about me that I judge people on. The number one thing that I judge people on when you start dating somebody is if somebody doesn't make an effort in the beginning, they are not going to make an effort 10 years in. I can tell you that from somebody that has been in a relationship for 10 years. And since October, we have basically had to sit down and say, like, either this has to change or we're going to have to see other people because it's not where we want it to be. And I want for you guys to know that if you get to that point in your relationship, please don't feel like you have failed. Like I did a little bit. Like, I can't believe that I invested this much time and then I'm at this. Listen, life gets busy and you have to be kind to yourself first. This is your journey, nobody else's. And while you might find a life partner to walk this journey with you, and that life partner may change, it may not, that's between you, that's your business. The only person that you are going to walk this journey from day one to the last breath you take is yourself. And I think that so many of us do not love ourselves. We do not embrace our higher self. We do not take time to get to know, to really know our higher self. We don't take time to know that our ego and pride were there to protect us. And now we don't need that as adults. We need for them to sit down so that we can evolve and be better people in love. Because I tell people all the time that as a child and a teenager, ego and pride are things that protect you, because we need to stay alive and we need to set a good example and we need to find a partner to mate with and all of these things that are hardwired into our brain from the moment we're born that are not necessarily necessary as an adult. And I'm telling you, once you start to have your friends and you find companionship, those things are great. But the first thing you have to remember is the things that have to go are your ego and pride, because you no longer need them to protect you. And I'm going to tell you, it's very bizarre because I started reading a book about it, and it was saying how your ego and your pride help you, especially with men, to like be this thing so that you attract, like you're a protector and it's an ego and pride, and people are attracted to that at first, which I don't know why, because we all know as adults we're like, oh, egotistical, but it really is something that attracts people to you. But the thing is once you attract somebody, all of a sudden you have to stop. You literally have to put the ego and the pride away. Like they're no longer necessary in your life, because there is no space in love for ego and pride. So I'm telling you, as humans, get yourself a therapist, because there's some shit out there that we don't know naturally, because it's not taught to us, and we can't be mad that we don't know what we don't know. We just don't know. We don't know what we don't know. Don't have a clue. Now then, like telling my friend today as we were talking, I was like, you know, one thing that I demand from somebody is good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I don't care if you're laying in the bed next to me or if you're gone. Good morning. Good morning. Like a good morning. I hope your day starts fantastic. Now, if I know that I'm getting up before you, and I know that I've got my day started before yours, it is something that I reciprocate. Let's say I know that you're not getting up till noon today because you got in at 3 a.m. and I got up at 7. And this is something that I can tell you that if somebody doesn't practice this in the beginning of a relationship, they're not going to just randomly do it. They're not going to just start doing it. That's who they are, and it's okay. Listen, I call people, I have culled like relationship type things in my life when I got very serious, clear and concise about what I wanted. Very clear and concise. I called people over not holding the door open for me. I called people because there were no good morning, beautiful text. Like, if you're not going to do it in the beginning when you're trying to impress me, you're not going to do it 5 years from now. Like, you're just not that person, and you are not for me. So I want for you guys that are single to really set these incredibly high standards for yourself. And I want for you to know that people that once they have started to show you some affection, you know that you like them, you are talking to them, the worst thing that girls can do is be like, oh, he came on too strong. If you tell me that, it better be because on date 2 he had his hands down your pants and you're like, hey, motherfucker, get away from me before I like dick kick you. That came on too strong. I will also tell you that I have learned this, and I've known this forever. And in my life, I can tell you that in a relationship, if the very first time you meet somebody, it's for sex, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. Because a relationship cannot be based on sex. It has to be based on, don't get me wrong, hear me out. It has to be based not only on that, but you have to be building a life together. So when you start like dating somebody, it is important to know how they grew up, who they are, where they're from, because it is so important. It's so important that as you, as a young adult, are trying to grow into a solid adult, that you do have somebody in your life that maybe understands where you came from. Now, there are situations where city folks and country folks have mixed, and it's fine, and that's okay, but you have to understand where somebody comes from, because they're going to need a lot of grace. Like, we all do. We all need a lot of grace. I didn't say anything in the video. I'm looking. I don't know. I'm going to have to deal with all of that when I am not driving. Hang on, you guys. I have to bust a little bitch right here. And I just want to make sure that all the cars are clear and I don't get run over. Go fast, go fast. Just kidding. I mean, I'm not really like, I mean, that car was like a little bit close, but not. They were like going way too fast. The speed limit was like 35. They're going like 60. And I'm like, calm down, Karen. Okay? You're headed towards the restaurant district. The chef will still be cooking when you get there. Don't worry. You do not have to go 60 in the 35. IHOP will be open. Calm down. Calm down. I get hangry too, though. I also like food. I also get a little lead foot heavy. When I'm headed for groceries, don't worry, me too. It's like the horse in the pasture that you shake the feed tub and they're fucking coming, run you and everything else over, dangerous to feed because all they give a fuck about the bucket. That's her, and she's driving that little silver vehicle there. She's headed towards the line of restaurants going 60 in the fucking 35, and she's serious about it. And I'm like, whoa, Gordo. That's how Gordo is. He is such a food hound. And it's so funny. He's not really like so pushy and assertive when you're trying to feed him. But listen, the funniest thing about Gordo, and I kind of miss it, when you start feeding at night, everything in his stall is moving. Like, you can just tell, like, he is just in there like, oh, I hear the food wagon. And you're like, Gordo, stop. For serious. So, now I will tell you that for me, it's hard because I am established in what I do for a living. I am established, but when I was 25, I was not established. So it was still goals and it was still aspirations. And my friend and I were having that talk today about how, you know, when you're in your early 20s, people have goals and aspirations. And I can't tell you how many people that I've dated or talked to in the past that don't do any of the things that they said they wanted to do, But I will tell you that the difference is that one thing that and poor Jacob, he just can be thrown under the bus. When I met him and started dating him, he was very set in what his goals were, and he knew what he wanted. He wanted to buy cattle. He wanted to feed cattle. These were his, you know, Jacob was very adamant on, no, I don't want to turn mama cows out. Like, that sounds like a terrible, I do not want to have to sort and pin and band and vaccinate. Like, I just want to buy. I want to buy and send them to the feed yard. Like, I don't want the everyday. And it was the first time in my life that when I sat down and had conversations with somebody that they were like very cut and dry. And I think that that's one of the things that probably attracted me to him the most, still to this day, is that it's not just talk. Like, so let's say that I call Jacob today and I say, hey, I have a business idea and I want to expand. Because here's the thing, about 5 years ago, maybe it was 6 years ago, it was before Tinley, I said, hey Jacob, this is the deal. I want to take the horses away from the kill pen. I don't like this. I don't like this environment. I don't like living an hour away from there. We didn't have the money at that time to do anything about it. It was like they were just buying the horses. They go to the kill pen. That environment sucks. But what he did was when we sat down and had that conversation, it was like, okay, so here's the thing. We can find a place to lease, which I will tell you, we tried fiercely to find a place to lease. And at the time, I found one place to lease. And after I leased it, I had haters, and this is not a joke, that harassed the owner of that property so badly that I was mortified. I was not as mentally strong and I was not as established as I am now. And we also happened to live, like, that place was local to a girl that was very active in my hate group. And she actually came at night and let all the horses out, not once, but twice. And it was just very stressful. And what sucked about it the most is that it was something that I should have been so excited about. I should have been being able to really celebrate and rejoice that we found a horse property, because they're not that easy to lease, and that I'm able to get these horses out of the kill pen environment and get them to a private facility. And truthfully, it was a nightmare. It was genuinely a nightmare. And I can see now how the devil was just absolutely making sure that I had the most opposition that I could possibly have to try to stifle me from continuing. And I'm going to tell you, when I called them and told them, like, she's let the horses out for the second time, I put cameras up, whoever it is, like, we didn't know, has done this. I filed a police report. I had a police report. That person was told that if they came back near the premises, they would be arrested. It was just really, like, it was just a shit show. It was so hard. It was just honestly and I remember just bawling and telling Jacob, like, I don't understand how anybody could not want better for the horses. I don't understand how anybody could not think that the horses deserve better. Does that make sense? Like, this is insane. So he said, like, we're going to have to find the right place, and you're just going to have to figure out what you can do to put money aside. And this is the game plan. Like, it was not like, oh yeah. And literally from that point forward, he started buying like one horse a week or one horse every other week. And that money would be put aside, basically, to kind of help fulfill that dream. Now, what we did do is we ended up improving the pens in Pitkin a little bit. They didn't, that facility belongs to Jacob's family. Sorry. So sorry. Obviously, I had a phone call. It was Jackie. And I'm like, I'm live. Come on. Fast. Hurry. Do all the... Okay. Sorry, please, and thank you. Okay, sorry about that. So I don't mean to be interrupted, but Jackie, the lady that bought Shiner, came to the house in person to meet him and make sure that it was a good connection, which was fantastic. So she did that, and that way she could see, because he came in a little thin, and I wanted her to see that, because I have people that you can tell them this horse came in a little thin, it's putting weight on, but then they get the horse, and especially if it has to travel, it can lose a little bit more weight, and you just don't want people to think that they don't understand what they're getting. Like, this horse is a little thin, he looks much better, Shiner's doing fantastic, but like, he's a high caliber, high quality horse that somebody let stand in their pasture. Anyway, she loved him, she bought him, fantastic. And Fox and Garcia sold. They sold to one home together. Fantastic. Love it. Okay, so here's my deal. I want you guys to know that if in a relationship, when you first start talking about your plans, the worst thing and the first sign of somebody that is not going to work for you is somebody that wants to talk but no action. Literally, when I told Jacob my goals, the very next sell he went to, he called me and he said, I have an idea. There's a horse here. I think that I'm going to buy, not a killer, a trader. This is how our traders got started. And he said, just think about this, how we can do it. I'm going to give a little bit more than kill price. And this was one of the very first ones that we bought that was like not a killer. We bought him for enough money he wouldn't have sold for slaughter. I think we gave $3,000 for him. So Jacob put his money and his action where his mouth was. He bought a $3,000 horse at Kelowna. And he said, I want for you to advertise it. You don't have to put a ship date, just whatever. But the profit it makes, I want to put that aside to start to fulfill, the goal of finding a property that we can keep better quality horses, that you can hire a staff, that you can run an actual business, and you don't live an hour and a half round. It was like an hour and 45 minutes round trip for me to go to the kill pen and back home. And once I had Tinley, it became impossible. So I want you guys to know that in Louisiana, I was just the broker. I would go out, video the horses, put them online, but the horses didn't belong to me. The quality of care was subpar at best. It was a fucking kill pen, you guys. It was awful. I thought it was awful, but there was nothing I could do because they were going to keep buying the horses for slaughter, whether I liked it or not. So what I needed to do was just do my very best by the horses, keep trying to just get them homes and get them out of there. And, anyway, now looking back on it, I did the best that I could with what I had, and I can tell you, standing where I am today, I look back on the girl that had to stomach that, and I am very proud of her, because I can tell you, I don't know if I could do it again. And I'm grateful for her, and I'm grateful that in that moment I stepped up to the task at hand, and that I just did what I needed to do. But I think there's probably a lot of you that are retired nurses, or that are retired ambulance drivers. And when you no longer have to do it every day, and you get to where you're a little bit more relaxed in life, you look back at some of the stuff that you persevered. Some of you that were in the Army, you look back at some of the stuff you went through and that you saw and that you did, and you're like, I don't know if I could do it again today. Like, you could, because just like then, you would train and you would build up and you would step back up just like I would if I had to. But you can't imagine it when you're out of it. You can't imagine it when you're out of it. You're like, I could never do that again. Yes, you could. You did it once. You can do it again. You just are not currently in that. So it feels very foreign. Because I can tell you, I look at kill pens now and my stomach turns. I think about kill pen stuff now and my stomach turns. Like, I would never ever go back to having like a feedlot situation where there's like 30 horses in one pen fighting over 2 bales of hay. There's just no fucking way in America. And how I did it for so long was because I knew that if I didn't do it, nobody else was going to. That's how I did it. So let me reiterate this back to my dating advice. back to my dating advice. The one thing I can tell you that has always been such a turn on, and it's why I call Jacob daddy, and it's so funny because I called him daddy before I had Tinley. And people used to laugh and be like, why do you call him that? Because let me tell you, Jacob always implemented action. Like, if I told him this is what I want to do, it was immediate. He was like, okay, so what can we do to get the wheels turning? And I want for you guys to know how important that is, genuinely. Genuinely. He is... Okay. All right. Now then, so one thing that I can tell you is if somebody talks and talks and talks and talks and talks to you about their dreams and their goals and things they want to do and whatever, and they don't actively, continually make an effort every day to start to pursue those things, they're definitely somebody that's going to procrastinate their entire life, and you are going to be in the same boat in 5 years. Because there are people that are chronic talkers. They will talk, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Listen, either you do it or you don't do it. So we started buying like one horse here, one horse there that were not for slaughter. They were higher end horses. And I sold the $3,000 horse for, I think, $7,000. And that profit kind of, because when we went to move here, you have to remember, I needed a tractor, I needed a gator, I needed all of these things. And I didn't have Facebook monetization in the beginning. So we not only had to put the big deposit, and then have enough aside so in case anything extra. So we had a pretty decent sized nest egg. With that being said, as we started to grow and things got bigger and I was hiring, okay, sorry, my business phone just keeps going off and technically I'm supposed to be working, right? So once we moved, I'm going to tell you that it's been a lot. Like, it's been a lot, and thank God for Facebook monetization because it made some things happen a lot faster. But even once we moved here, Jacob has been so good about being like, okay, these horses are for this, these horses are for that, these pay for this, these pay for this, these, but just being very responsible. And one thing I can tell you is I see a lot of girls that find guys that are not super responsible. Jacob is such a daddy when it comes to handling money and handling responsibility, and there's a lot of great qualities. Now, I talk so good about him, and then I tell you, after I had COVID, our relationship has just been really hard, and it's been a lot, and it's because there were other aspects that were not being fulfilled. And I want to talk to you guys about that too, because a relationship is a lot of work. Like, I don't think people realize how much work a relationship is until you're 10 years into it. Year 1, it's a breeze. Year 2, good. Year 3, year 4, it's a lot of work. Commitment and staying faithful and keeping eye contact and being committed in a long-term relationship. It's a lot of work. I don't care what anybody says. People can say things online like, oh, but when you're so in love with each other, it's easy. I don't know what fantasy land they're living in, but I can tell you I have lots and lots of friends that have been married for 10 plus years. And the last thing any of them say is, it's easy. It's easy on the good days. Oh, it's easy when I married my best friend. Okay, well, in year 13 and like 3 kids later, let me know how that goes, Susan. Let me know. Because I can tell you that 10 years in with 1 kid, I want to fucking kill that motherfucker. Like, every day. But I also can tell you that after seeing, like, at my age, kind of what's out there, I'm like, no, I'm going to stay where I'm at. I am. I just decided, like, we're going to fix this. We're fixing this because I don't need any more. Yeah, I'm telling you. Because I have friends my age that are dating, and the stuff that they put up with, I mean, first of all, most guys that are my age or older that are single are serial cheaters. Like they just don't. They have commitment issues. Let's just be honest. They have commitment issues. And what I hate to see, and I see this all the time, is that there are great women that get into a relationship with somebody that's a really great guy, but truthfully, it's not her, it's him. And then women have this weird way of being like, what's wrong with me? Like, what's wrong with me? Like, why? Like, what's... Nothing is wrong with you, baby. Nothing is wrong with you. Some men have horrible commitment issues. Some guys will talk a really big game, and at the end of the day, especially, I mean, and this is in all walks of life. I have seen wildly successful doctors, and I've also seen 35-year-olds that like do not have their shit together, and it does not matter. Still, I have a friend of mine who is fantastic. She's beautiful, and she's like 38, and she is single, and she is constantly like, what's wrong with me? And I'm like, nothing. Like, she is fit, she's athletic, she's beautiful. And just watching the men that she dates, it's not her in those situations. But it's really weird because she will find a guy that will be great and successful, and the good morning text messages and the everything that, and still she's like, oh, he just, you know, and I'm like, okay, maybe it is you. In that moment, maybe it is her. But you have to remember that this is what I learned in life. The hardest thing in the world for us is like slight rejection. So when somebody gets slightly rejected, they instantly go, why? Hang on. Hello, this is Tara. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Which one? Yes, sir. He sold this morning. He sold this morning. Yep. Is there something in particular that... Oh, absolutely. I sure do. If you'll give me just a second. Do you text message by any chance? Okay, no problem. If you'll give me just a little bit, I've got a couple of horses that are at the facility that have not been advertised yet. And is she wanting to run barrels or just trail ride? Okay. Okay. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, he would have been perfect, but a lady actually drove in today just to see him and meet him in person, and she bought him. If you'll give me just a little bit, I can send you a horse or two that we don't have advertised yet. And I'll send it through text message, and I'll send a couple of photos with a brief description. And if there's something you're interested in, you can just give me a call back. Okay, a gelding, perfect. And budget-wise, you want to keep it around that same price point? Yes. Okay. Nope, that's a good budget. Yep. Yeah, no, I understand that too. So you want to spend a little more and get your money's worth. I completely understand. Yes, sir. I completely understand. Yes, you don't want to have to do the hard part. I completely understand that. That way she can get to riding right away. I have two that I know of for sure that'll work, and I will get you information on them here in just a second. Okay, what height, if you'll tell me, are you wanting to stay around 15 hands or, okay, a little bit smaller. Okay. Okay, yeah, no problem. Okay, that sounds great. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. I love a customer that knows what they want. 15 hands, gelding, want to stay between 5 and 10,000, knows exactly what he wants to pay a little bit more because they do not want to have to put weight on it. They don't want to have to tune it up. They don't want to have to, his granddaughter wants to ride this weekend and she doesn't have a horse. So he is not looking for a project. He doesn't want to buy, he wants to buy a trader. He made it very clear. I don't want to buy one of your killers. I want a trader. I want something that we don't have to put any work into. And you know what? He didn't say I have $1,500. Like, thank you, sir. Where do we find those customers? Hey girl, how are you? Oh, can you hear me? Can you? Oh, there you go. Hey, I'm actually live on Facebook. Can I call you right?
Oh my God.
No problems. Listen, everything you said, nobody could hear anything because I couldn't hear you either. But if you'll give me just a second, or text me, we'll be just fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. My customer from New York. So I'm telling y'all, my phone does this all day. If you're wondering why I can't, like, sometimes people are like, Tara, I'm like, this is like my lunch break. And my phone is just like, I've already sold 4 horses this morning. It's been a really good day. God, it's been a good day. Can we just say, praise Jesus? It's been a good day. It's been a good day. Okay. So Gabriel and, Brody need freaking homes. Somebody buy Gabriel. Somebody buy Brody. I do not want to send them to a sale. I want to know their families and stay in contact. Okay, now back to what I was saying. Where was I? Oh, yeah. My friend. Okay, so she recently started dating a guy. And he's like really inconsistent. And she's like totally addicted. She's so addicted. And I finally told her the other day, I was like, look, I want you to make, she did it. And it's been so good. I want you to make a list of the things that you wish a person would do. And then tell me how many of those things he doesn't do. And if it's like more than half, like this person is just not like, but it's like slight rejection. It's like she wants him to put in maximum effort and he's doing the bare minimum, but yet he'll text her things like, you're the love of my life and you're the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. And then like she does not get a good morning text the next morning. They'll like go out to eat dinner and then like he won't even call that night. It'll be like the next day at some point. What are you doing? What are you doing tonight? Like, and she's just like so excited to hear from him. And I'm like, this is not it, sis. Like, this is not it. And I actually told Jacob this morning as he like snapped me photos of like every horse that we sent to Billings. And he went and found a horse that we used to own that's in the cell and sent me photos of him and just the maximum effort. I actually told him like, hey, I want you to know that I am grateful for you today because you constantly put maximum effort in. Always. Like, we have Life 360. And, like, I can track him to the bathroom. I'm like, oh, he's in the bathroom at whatever restaurant they're in. Like, I literally just appreciate that. Like, now after having single friends and watching what they go through, I'm like, I'm going to stay where I am. The grass is not fucking greener on the other side. In fact, it's charred to a crisp. I'm gonna stay right where I've watered this grass. It's fine. But listen, there are guys out there that the grass is a little charred and they're totally worth watering. But you have to remember that it's effort. Like, if you're gonna put in the effort, so do they. Like, so do they. And do not get addicted. Please don't get addicted to rejection. Please do not get in that cycle where you have slightly been rejected. So you just constantly think to yourself that you need to do more so that maybe that person will like you more. That's not how it works. That's not how it works at all. Not even a little bit. Not even. And I told her the red flag is when they say, well, I'm a good motherfucker. Like, baby, if you were a good motherfucker and you had it figured out, you wouldn't be single at 38. You wouldn't be single because here's the truth. Lots of people think that they're really good, but they're just really good at telling themselves they're really good. Like, listen, I've been in a relationship with Jacob for 10 years, okay? Since October, I have been wilding out. I've been like, I don't know what I want, and I'm fucking unhappy, and I'm on this weird spiritual journey. And, like, Jacob bought a yoga mat and, like, sent me a yoga schedule and was like, let's go do this together. Like, that's a good motherfucker. He's like, oh, you want to wild out on this weird shit? Okay, well, I'm coming too. Like, hold on! Let me buy a yoga mat! Swear to God. 6'2" cowboy. I told him, like, what are you gonna do? Go in there in your freaking starched jeans and come on. Like, let's go. It's fine. So I'm just telling you that maximum effort is so important. Like, and it's not just important on day one and year one. It's important 10 years in. And it just makes me so grateful because I'm telling you, and I told my therapist this, man, in life, you can get so overwhelmed, honestly. Where am I going? I've got to go get blood. I have to get blood drawn today, by the way. We're doing a hormone and thyroid panel. Anybody else had to have those things done today?
Starting route to LabCorp. Proceed to Old Bullard Road, then turn right.
All right, let's go. I gotta be there. Gotta be there in just a minute. Got a million other things to do today. Sorry, you're gonna have to just let me squeeze by because I was halfway down this when you decided to dart in here and you don't fit. Do y'all see this? She doesn't fit. Okay, let me get out of her way so she can park in my parking spot that she ran me over for. I swear to God, some people are in such a hurry. Like, I wasn't going to take it back. I'm leaving. I just parked so I didn't have to just be in the busy driveway. Anyway, so Heather McGee is my doctor. She's fantastic. She's here on Facebook. If you live in the state of Texas, you can reach out to her. She's one of our tribe members. She's a fantastic, fantastic doctor. And you can do everything through Zoom. We were talking the other day about a couple things, and I'm having like we're going to check all my hormones and my thyroid.
Onto Old Bullard Road.
And what she did is she ordered all of the lab testing, and then I just have to go there and they will pull the blood and then send her everything. And then I'll do like a little Zoom meeting with her. Sir, can you make up your mind? Thank you so much. It only took you 1 hour. Indecisive people. He didn't know if he wanted to go straight or left. And I'm like, you should have had that figured out before you stopped at the stop sign at the 4-way. Yeah, he stopped, he looked straight, then he turned his light on, then he looked straight, turned his light off, turned his light back on, and then he went straight. I was like, your blinker's still on! What are you doing?
At the light, turn right onto West-Southwest Loop 323.
So,
then turn left onto South Broadway Avenue.
And I don't know, I'm just 35. I'll be 36 in September. So I'm just at that age where we need to check my hormones, we need to check my thyroid, we need to make sure that I am like teetotally normal. So apparently it needs to be done every 6 months. Or I think they said once to twice a year. So anyway, it's just what I'm doing today. I have like 5 other errands and then I need to go back to the farm and have a list of things to do there as well. Okay, so turn left and then go 2 miles. Okay. All right. So I was back to talking about how but then I discovered that my unhappiness has genuinely been with myself, and that it's not my relationship. It's not anything else. It's just literally that I have broke open the spiritual journey, and I've been trying to do all of this like self-help. But a spiritual journey is a lot. Like, you kind of fall down that spiritual journey, and the next thing you know, you're literally like doing shadow work. And anybody that tells you like a spiritual journey is like love and light and rainbows is a little bit of a liar. It's more like love and light and rainbows and dark caves with bats and spooky things, and you have to sit down with the worst of yourself and your trauma and try to heal yourself from things that you didn't do and that you're never going to get an apology for. And remember that at the end of the day, it's just your journey, and nobody else is going to walk from the day you're born to the last breath. And you know what? The funniest thing about my yogi, my life coach, and my therapist, one thing that they all believe in is that finding a deep connection with a life partner is important. And I have had people that have said, this is your journey, nobody else's, and you need to be, self-love, yes, but also just be really good. And I'm going to tell you that that's been good for me, because you can get on such a self-love journey that you start to say these things to where it's like, and I had a therapist, the one I switched from, I think I told you guys a little bit about her, not a lot because I didn't stay there. She was really big on like self-love and the things that you demand. Like, this is what I demand. This is what I demand. This is what I demand from myself, from the people around me. But that is a vicious cycle, because you can get so focused on what you want that all of a sudden what everyone else around you wants doesn't matter. And I found for me that it was slightly toxic, because that is how I got in the situation of, hey, I don't know what I want. Like, this relationship might not be for me, because I was so set on, I want things like this, and if you're not going to do them, I'll find somebody that will. Like, and it was a very toxic mindset. And my therapist now has said, I hate that, because I don't know that that's what she meant to say or the way, but in that moment, that's kind of how I took it. And it was very toxic for me. Hear me out. Because there's no love and compassion and understanding for your partner. But I also think that it came from a place of trauma a little bit, where I want, and I'm not settling for anything less anymore ever again. This is my journey. I only get one, like, burr, 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 burr. And I make the bed every day when I get out of it. And let me tell you something. If I get out of my bed and I come home at night and you were the last person in it and it's destroyed and you didn't have the courtesy to make it, you don't fucking need to sleep in my bed. And Jacob does not make the bed. And I'm telling you that I have had to, in the last couple of months, like, not kill anybody, but also just remember that when I come in, that the first thing I'm going to have to do is just immediately, before I do anything else, if I want to get into a made bed, I need to just go make it. Go put all the fucking pillows back. Somehow, I don't know how he gets the fitted sheet off his side of the bed along with the mattress cover. Fucking kill him. How does that happen? I'm not even kidding. I have to put the mattress cover back on every fucking time. Like, do you move around that much? Like, what are you doing in your sleep? How did this happen? I've bought 4 different brands of sheets. I've bought ones that are even just like the extra big thick ones that you can like tuck way the fuck up. No. He's going to get the fitted sheet off first. For sure. The fitted sheet's coming off. And then 4 out of 7 nights, we're also going to have the mattress cover off. So I'm telling you, like, when I come in, and I don't allow Tinley to bring food or her toys in my bedroom. So Jacob had her at my house for 2 days. He stayed at my house for 2 days. Because, you know, he has his house in Louisiana. Stays at my house for 2 days. I come home and there's like food all over my bedroom. And her toys are strode everywhere. And guess what the first thing that happened? Guess what the first thing that happened was? I stepped on something. I like took my shoes off, came in my bedroom, and like stepped on like Peppa Pig before I could get the lights on. And like, I'm furious. There's like kid toys everywhere. My bed is not made. There's like brownie like bites like loose. And I'm just like what happened in here? And of course, Jacob being a man, he didn't pick up after her. He let her do all of the things that I don't allow at my house. And he didn't pick up after her. And I was furious. Like, when I tell you I was throwing his things and her things in the living room as fast as I could get all of them there and screaming. Me. Right here. Just. So, that is something my therapist said. Like, okay, we know that these are the things that in my relationship, I'm not willing to do this. Like, you're not going to disrupt my peace like this. So it's one of the things that at this point, I don't see it. Where am I? Am I going in this little house? Oh my God, am I going to go miss? Oh no, it's this building. Okay, I was like, oh my God, it's like a fucking halfway house. You guys, they're trying to kidnap me. I'm going to be sex trafficked from Texas. No. And then I realized, like, no, it's in this building and this looks normal. This looks normal-ish. Normal-ish. Okay. Oh, boom. Am I here? I am here. Okay. All right, you guys, my appointment is like I've got like 7 more minutes. So anyway, yeah, there's like a halfway house next door and it said like Texas, like in between home for wayward women. And I'm like, And then I'm like, oh, the sign's like pointing over there, and it's like an OBGYN, and then LabCorp, and then next door is Texas Oncology. So it's like a little medical strip, but still. Anyway, I was just pretty sure I was fucking getting, I was like, there's a minivan in the back. Are they gonna put me in that? I have 2 phones and I'm putting one down the front of my pants. Like, I'm putting one down the front of my pants. That way they won't know it's there. And you guys remind, if I go missing, there's Life 360 on my phones. Find me. Anyway, but I'm serious. This is something that's like a non-negotiable. One thing that we have had to sit down is make a list of non-negotiables and things that are things that I myself am going to have to just, and it's really funny because you'll find when you do this, your non-negotiables will normally be things that they will compromise on. And their non-negotiables will normally be things you'll compromise on. And you just have to set those clear, concise boundaries, like out loud on paper. And I'm like, the next time I come home and like everything is stripped off the bed. And here's the deal. When I come home and the bed is not made, I have been doing really good about not killing you and just making it. And then going into, even though I'm tired, going and taking my shower and then getting in the made bed. Because that just felt better to me to get in the made bed. So with that being said, okay, the food and the toys in my bedroom are non-negotiable. This is my space. I constantly clear the energy in here. I constantly sage this. I constantly light candles. I constantly make space here for like healing. My bedroom is gigantic, and I have a meditation spot, and I have my yoga mat, and like it is non-negotiable that I come home and it be destroyed like this. So if this is how you want to live, you're going to have to do it at your house. You're not doing it at mine. It's a non-negotiable for me. Non-negotiable. I will not come home like this every day. I do not have time. And then Jacob said, well, I'm not going to clean it. And I said, well, you better figure out where you're going to live because it's not with me. So at that point, we had to come to a compromise, you see. So Jacob tried to say, okay, well, I'll pay for a housekeeper and she can come. And I said, oh, no. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. Because let me tell you why. Sure, you can pay for a housekeeper to come to my house once a week and like catch up on the extras. But she's not going to be able to come 7 days a week. So for the one day that she comes and I get to come home to a nice clean space that I expect because I left it that way, the next day it's going to be disorganized. And this isn't like my barn. This is not where I'm going to respect my staff and these 6 hours that would have taken to do this, I want to dedicate to the horses because it is not, this is going to take maybe 30 minutes a day. And by God, I'm not. So what we have decided is we literally split things. 30 minutes worth of odds and ends. So we split the hour in half. I'm going to do these. You're going to do these. And it is there. I'm going to tell you, before Jacob left, all the trash was bagged. And in the trashes, Tinley's toys were all back in the toy box. And I was like, okay. I put my foot down. Like, this is non-negotiable. You will not live here. I'm not doing this. Relationships are fucking work now. 10 years into this sucker and I'm just now figuring it out. Seriously. So don't get into a relationship with somebody that's not the right person, because even a relationship with the right person can be fucking hard. It can be really hard. And I don't think enough people say that out loud. I don't. I think too many people try to get on Facebook and pretend like shit is so perfect that they don't say that. They don't say that. And if you don't have communication skills, and I will tell you another thing, if you do not go to therapy and you do not find a happy medium, it's definitely not going to work. Like, put the effort in. But in the beginning, don't pick human beings that have all the red flags in the beginning, because my friend did it. And you know what? I laughed because it is the thing that made me start to realize that I was settling for some red flags and I wasn't willing to do that either. And I'm going to tell you that, in friendships and in relationships, when people show you who they are, believe them. And I can tell you, there's a lot of people that when you believe who they are, you will all of a sudden not care anymore that you feel slightly rejected by them, because you will realize that people that are not, there are people that are just not in the mental space to be able to correctly love somebody to begin with. And relationships are so tough with somebody that is emotionally, mentally, and so if you're trying, like if you have somebody that's like showing you slight rejection here and there, or like doing little things that are like red flags, they are not in the mental space to be able to have that communication that is necessary at year 10. They are somebody that's telling you right now that, and don't be addicted. Like some people get so addicted to the rejection. Like I need you to like me. And that is hardwired into our brain. That is hardwired into our brain that we need to be liked. That if somebody is rejecting us, we need to you go to sleep worried about it, and then you wake up worried about it, and the next thing you know, that person is the first thing on your mind and the last thing you think about at night, because they're not doing the things that you feel are necessary, and it starts to become like a vicious cycle, and it is not good. Okay, I've got 1 minute. Bye, you guys.